Brock, it is your long-awaited tutorial. Today I am going to show you how to make a fire-breathing dinosaur in After Effects. It's going to look a little something just like this. Alrighty, now you probably noticed that that is just a still picture of a dinosaur. The reason for that is so that we don't have to worry about any kind of motion tracking, and we can just focus on bringing it in, masking it, and giving it a nice reflection to make it look realistic and natural in the scene. The exact same principles will apply for a video, but you will have to do motion tracking, which we're just not going to get into today. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to open up After Effects over here, and I'm going to create a new composition, and I'm going to make it 1920 by 1080. That looks really nice right over there. All of my assets are there. I'm just going to drop that down, and I'm going to bring in this prehistoric fish, and it is a giant image. So I'm going to select the layer, press S for scale, and I'm going to bring that down to about 40. Yeah, that looks good. Now I'm going to center it up right there in my frame, and that looks like a good placement right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring in my flames, and I'm just going to go ahead and scrub forward right here on my timeline so I can see that flame all the way expanded, and just kind of put it right about where I want it to be. Now, the anchor point is in the middle of your bounding box, and for something like this, I want to go ahead and bring it to the base of the flame. You don't have to do this, but it's something that I like to do. And I'm going to go ahead and hit my select, which is the V, and actually I want to rotate this, so I'm going to hit the rotate tool, which is also W on your keyboard. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my selection tool, which is V on the keyboard, and I'm just going to mess with the bounding box a little bit, extend these flames out. Now, on something like this, you don't really need to worry too much about distortion and warping, because those flames are moving so fast that nobody would really be able to tell anyway. Now, something you'll be able to see there is it looks a little funky. These teeth, those should be in front of the flame if it's coming out of his mouth. So I'm going to need to mask that out. So I'm going to select the layer. I'm going to make sure that layer is selected and put it exactly where I want it to go. And then I'm just going to hide the layer. The layer is still selected, but I need to be able to see those teeth. I'm going to go over here to my pen tool, which is G, and I'm going to make the mask all around that tooth area. And you can click and drag to create curves, and hold Alt to adjust each one of those little waypoints. I'm going to go ahead and skip over all of the actual masking because that's pretty boring. But you'll see the mask is complete there, and I turn the layer back on. And the flames are right on the teeth. We don't want that, but that is because our mask is set to add. So I'm just going to select that mask on that layer and hit subtract. Now that looks right. The flames are where they are supposed to be. The teeth are where they are supposed to be. I'm just going to kind of scrub back and forth on the timeline to make sure that this looks good. And yep, we're looking good there. Now you'll notice over here that there is a reflective surface. Now in the real life, that flame would reflect off of that surface, so we need to make a flame that reflects off of the surface too. So I am going to go over here and select that layer and hit Control D to duplicate it, and I'm going to move that down to the bottom, and I am going to delete the mask that I made, go back to my selection tool over here, and move that flame right about where it would show up in real life if it were actually coming out of this dinosaur. And again, yep, that looks good, just kind of adjusting. Yeah. Now again, we're going to go ahead and we're going to mask that out, just like so. I'm going to speed this up here, And again, we're going to go to that mask and hit subtract. Now, I'm going to clean up that mask edge, make sure it's right there on the wall so we're not getting any bleed over onto that wall. And now you'll see that this flame just looks like we just stuck it there, and that's not very good. We want it to look like it's actually reflecting off the glass. So we're going to switch over here to our toggle layers and styles button, and our layer style is normal. We're going to go ahead and we're going to select soft light. No, that doesn't quite look right. Let's see what else. Screen, nope, that's too bright. And let's see what else is there. Overlay, there we go, that's looking better. And just going to go ahead and make sure that it's still kind of in the right place. Yeah, just kind of scrub back and forth, kind of see how it animates onto that screen there. That looks pretty good, but there's still too much of it, so I'm going to press T for opacity, and I'm going to bring that down to 30. Yep, just like so. And that looks better. That looks like it's actually on the glass there. Alrighty, that looks pretty good to me. Now the one last thing that we need to do is we need to adjust this as kind of magical. So I want these flames to look a little magical, not just red. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit Lumetri Color, and I'm going to double click to select that and put that onto the layer. And I'm going to go over here to my color wheels, and I'm going to make the highlights a little bit in the blue. Gonna do the same thing on the midtones. Just drag that over to the blue. And yeah, we're starting to get kind of a purpley look to our flame. Let's bring that over to the shadows. There's not much shadow on flame, but still. There we go. It looks like a kind of a magical purple flame now, which I like. Alrighty, and I'm going to go over here to basic correction, and I'm just going to kind of play with the contrast a little bit. Yeah, it's a little less contrast, a little more contrast, a little more contrast, probably good. Now on yours, you just kind of play with it, make sure it looks good, make sure it looks right to you. And the last thing that we want to do is apply that effect over to our reflection layer. I'm going to click on Lumetri Color, right click on it, select our reflection layer, and hit Control V, and it's already there. Alrighty, that is how to import, mask, and make reflections in things in After Effects. So go ahead, go have fun, light things on fire in your computer, not in real life, and I will see you later.